Hi there. You know this scene, right? If you're old enough, that is. It's the scene of the 9/11 disaster known as the September 11th, 2001 attack by jihadist Muslims as they crashed their planes into the North and South Tower of the World Trade Centers over here. Now, they also crashed a plane into the Pentagon. And they also attempted to crash a plane into either the White House, that's the fourth plane, or the Capitol building. But that was thwarted by the brave passengers on Flight 93, and they thwarted the hijackers' attempt to destroy another section of the United States government. And that plane crashed into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Now, the headline for that week, that's where this whole video comes in handy. The headline for that week, let me go get it and I'll show you. That headline that you see right here, it says, after 9/11, a short-lived rush to church. Why would people rush to church to pray to a God who they bring out seemingly only after disasters strike America? They seek God out when fires devastate their region, like this one. Let me show you. I'm talking big fires, like this one that happened in Australia, or others that consume millions of acres of trees and homes and businesses, like out in California that we see on the news almost every night. They run to God when a disaster like that happens. Why? There's always a disaster like this flood that happened in Indonesia, or that happens in Haiti, or anywhere around the world, including Louisiana or Texas or Florida. And when things like this major flood happen anywhere in the world, what do people do? They run off to church, or they kneel wherever they can kneel, and they seek out this God whom they don't seek out during good times. Only when devastation strikes. And when major hurricanes like this one strike the United States, people flood into churches, or they have neighborhood prayer vigils to ask God to save them from disaster and loss of their property. Now, I live in North Carolina, and then people get shot down here, like almost on a nightly basis. I think there were 130 murders that happened in the city of Charlotte last year. And when you see the news at night, they show you these crowds of neighborhood people gathered together. They have balloons and flowers and whatever, and they're praying to ask God to stop or to end this violence. So they stop, they pray, they seek out this God who they don't seek out any other time other than when disaster hits. Do you see a theme happening here in this video? When this volcano erupted in the Philippines, no less, those people rushed out to seek God when the volcano blew its top and lava flooded their region of the world. Then there's photos like this one of an earthquake that hit and killed thousands, and this devastation would wreak havoc on places in the world, even here in China, and it also happened in the Philippines. And people turn to who can save them from death and destruction. Who's that? God. Why? Why only, it seems, only when death and destruction and mayhem wreak havoc in their region of the world do they seek out God? Have you ever seen a locust storm like this one? Have you ever seen a locust storm? Or you've heard of them. Well, this locust, you've heard of them if you are familiar with the Bible at all. But this East African territory was devastated by swarms of locusts of biblical proportion, and their fields of crops and orchards were eaten up. They sought out the only one who could possibly help them, and it wasn't government, Even when a gigantic cyclonic windstorm like this happened in Europe, it created devastation to property, to boats, to people. And the Europeans went and they sought out help from Parliament, right? No, the men and women of Parliament couldn't do a thing to save them. A Parliament full of men and women could not possibly help them with this cyclonic windstorm that destroys everything in its path. Only God can calm the winds. Let me remind you of a biblical story about Jesus calming the windstorms. According to the Bible, Jesus was in a large boat with some of his apostles, and a devastating wind came up, causing panic among the apostles. Jesus was asleep in the back of this large boat, so it says in the Bible, a large fishing boat, but personally, I think he wasn't sleeping. He was just about to educate them about who he is and what he can do. So he stood up, as the picture shows you, and said to the storm, "Peace, be still." And the waves, everything, the sea turned into glass. Now, if Jesus can control the winds, then no wonder people try to seek the Lord out to help them when devastation strikes. But why only when devastation strikes? This is a mystery to me. Now, look at the photo of this cyclone that devastated Indonesia. That also, meaning Indonesia, was also recently hit by a tsunami that killed hundreds of thousands of people. You probably didn't know this, but over 88% of Indonesians are Muslims. Yet, they seek out their God when devastation hits. And, of course, major floods like this one that happened to Japan and China caused people of all kinds of faiths, or no faith, to somehow reach out and seek help from heaven. Even people that don't believe in God believe that there's some divine power somewhere. So they go to whoever they think is up there in heaven to save them from disaster. So I can wrap this up by simply suggesting to you that why do we wait for a disaster like 9/11 or earthquakes or floods or locusts even cause us to run to church or to fall on our knees and seek help from heaven only when disaster happens? It just seems like that's the truth. You know it, and I know it. You just know it. Where are we when good times happen? Where are we when things are going swell? Now, right now in the United States, things aren't too swell, are they? The political arena is being taken over by communism. And in the past 20 years, that's why people now, younger kids from before 20, that were born after 2001, they don't remember 9/11 because they've been educated in the school systems by the communist takeover of the school systems. You don't believe that, I know. But they're educating your children into socialism, which is the gateway drug, if you will, to Marxism, which we've already gone through, and now we're into full-blown communism, where your freedoms and my freedoms, and you know it, are slowly being taken away. The communists have infiltrated, I know you don't believe this, but go read the Communist Manifesto of 1963. Google it. It's in the congressional record. And all of the things that they plan to do, race wars, that's happening in the past couple of years in particular, taking over this education system and indoctrinating the kids so that most of the college kids voted for Bernie Sanders, who is what? A socialist. Senator from Vermont. Anyway, my point is they've taken over the media. It was planned. They've taken over Hollywood. It was planned. They planned to demoralize America. It's worked. So why aren't we running toward that God, the only one that can help us? He says, if my people would humble themselves, 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people would humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways, which is really not seeking God out in the first place, and just running off like it was in the days of Noah, eating, drinking, having fun, thinking about themselves. That's why devastation occurs, to get our attention and focus it more on God. But why do we wait? I don't understand why we wait. So this is just something to think about. Why not go seek Him out now, while the timing is not as devastating as it is going to get? I invite you to watch some of my videos here. There's one on the end days. There's another one on communism taking over America, and it's very detailed. So with that, I'll see you on the next video.